The Babylon Project was our last best hope for Scott. A self-contained podcast, 1 hour long, located on the internet. A place of fun and discussion for Babylon 5 fans everywhere. A shining beacon in cyberspace, all alone in the night. It was the dawn of the 20th anniversary of Babylon 5, the year the Great War to free Bab 5 came upon us all. This is the story of the last of the Babylon podcasts. The year is 2014. The name of the place is the Babylon Project Podcast.
This is Maggie Egan, your ISN news anchor, and you're listening to the Babylon Project podcast. Thanks for listening.
Hi there, Babylon 5 fans. This is Raul and Jim again, and we've got a special Babylon 5 event for us tonight, don't we, Jim?
Yes, we do. I attended the Omaha OsFest convention just this past couple of weeks ago, August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and we had a very, very special guest of honor there, our media guest of honor.
Okay, so she wasn't just there for something to do with Babylon 5. She was there as the main guest of honor for the convention.
As the media guest of honor. There's also artist guest of honor and author guests of honor and so forth and so on. But she was the media guest of honor. It was Maggie Egan.
Egan.
Yes. Us Babylon 5 aficionados would know her as the news anchor on ISN News prior to the breakaway with the Earth Alliance.
Jane, right?
Jane.
And she comes back again at the very end as well.
Yes. She was
which I thought was nice.
She was in 10 episodes total on Babylon 5 and was brought back for Crusade. And she talks a little bit about that during this interview.
Now, yeah, and this is an interview with you and her. This isn't just like a panel type interview that you recorded. This was a one-on-one?
This was a one-on-one interview that we did in the bar. She was in the middle of signing autographs, and I set this up with her for a certain time. She arrived just in time, sat down. The guy that handles the media relations, Anton, came in and whispered to me, keep it to 15 or 20 minutes, please, because there's a big line of people who want to meet Maggie back at her table.
Yeah, I wonder if she's surprised at how popular she is with the Babylon 5 fandom. Of course, I guess we have to listen to the interview to find that out.
Yeah, let's listen, and then I'll have some closing remarks.
All right, that sounds great. And here it goes.
Character files opened.
I am here at Omaha OsFest convention with Maggie Egan, who has appeared in many science fiction shows, including Alien Nation, Quantum Leap, CSI, Sliders, and The Mentalist, but is probably best known for her role as Jane, the interstellar news anchorwoman appearing on 10 episodes of the television series Babylon 5, as well as the spin-off series Crusade. How are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you.
What do you think of Nebraska so far?
You know what? I'm amazed at how lovely the climate is here. I thought it was going to be, walking through a wall of humidity, but it's nice. Very nice.
We've been very fortunate this summer. It's been very mild. We've only had about 5 real hot, miserable days.
Then that's saying something. How was your winter, though?
It was not too bad.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
you caught a break.
Yes, we have caught a break. Okay, as I mentioned, you were on Babylon 5, and you talked about it last night during the opening ceremonies. Would you mind telling us how the audition came about and how you came to be on Babylon 5?
I got a call from my agent saying, go find this location out in the middle of nowhere in the San Fernando Valley. I mean, this location of where they shot Babylon 5 was like nothing I'd ever seen. I've gone to Paramount and 20th Century and Warner's and all kinds of places. I'd never been to this location, so it was interesting. They took this, I think, an old warehouse or something and converted it into a studio, God bless them, and created this show. So I was there. I had no idea other than, prepare your little, scene and go home. So that's all I did. It was that simple. Then I guess I must have gotten that call saying you got the job, which is my favorite thing to hear. So that was it. I got to audition for this one, and I went home and prepared for the shoot, and we got it done, and I went home happy that I got a day on a set, and that was it for me, as far as I knew.
Yeah. Did you audition for Joe Straczynski himself then?
No, but I auditioned for Mary Jo Slater, who is Christian Slater's mom.
Oh.
And she was the casting director at the time. And so, yeah, just she was in the room, I think, and, someone running camera. And that was it. And I had no idea there were more to come.
So then you weren't aware that your role was going to be recurring at that time?
And in fact, they made me audition again, as I recall. Now that I'm remembering. I had to go in and audition again for the news anchor that I'd already played.
Oh, wow.
So I got it again, and then I think they just started calling and booking me, which was nice. But again, you, as an actor, you don't count on anything. I did not foresee this going on for 5 seasons, Mm-hmm. I just thought it was, isn't this nice? They call me back, and then they'd call me back again. And again. So it was nice. It worked out really well. And then was on Crusade as well, so that made it great.
So are you then a science fiction fan?
I never really kind of considered myself a science fiction fan until I stopped and went, well, I used to watch Star Trek, and I loved and adored Star Wars.
So you doing all right?
Honestly,
You guys doing okay? Cool.
we're watching science fiction, and we don't even, in my thinking, I don't even think of it as science fiction. It's just, what's a good movie, I don't go for genre. I go for, do I like these characters? Am I rooting for them? And so it doesn't really matter to me if it's about outer space or creatures or, it's about, is it exciting? Does it capture my imagination? Do I forget that I'm watching a movie and just, that's kind of what I look for. So it's not so much that I'm a science fiction fan, except that I am, because they're great movies in the science fiction genre.
But you're also a fan of other things.
Absolutely.
That are good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Many of the regular stars on Babylon 5 talk about the atmosphere on the set, that it was light, everybody seemed to be happy. For other shows, it wasn't so. There was a lot of intensity. Did you spend enough time on the set to get a feel for that atmosphere?
Well, glad you asked, because, my call was always like first thing in the morning, so they would get my little thing done and out of the way, so they could then let the other actors who'd been working all day the day before sleep in a little bit. It was just practicality, have me come in first. So I really didn't see too many people. I think I ran into Bruce Boxleitner once on the set, and I reminded him that I had been in Movie of the Week, and I'll have to get back to you on the name. You can fill it in later.
Okay.
And he was playing a cop, and we were at some seedy motel where I was being questioned, And it was the one time in my life, and I was young enough to pull this off, where I looked good enough that they had me playing a hooker.
Oh, no.
I know. It's like, wow. But I told Bruce, when I played that role, it was called Murderous Vision, by the way. It just came to me. And I said, when I'm on the set of the ISN news desk set, I said, Bruce, do you remember Murderous Vision? He said, yes. I said, well, I played a hooker there, but, as an actor, I wanted to make it more interesting. So in my mind, I was a transvestite. He just laughed. So I didn't see too many other people, though.
You must have had a lot of makeup for that role then.
It was so thick. That's why I went, oh, who is this? I have to be a transvestite. I don't look this pretty.
Well, sitting here with you, I wouldn't think you would need a lot of makeup.
God bless you. All right, you're in the will. Just, give me your particulars. I'll put you in the will.
I'll do that. There are a couple of shows that I would like to visit with you about briefly. When you were an ISN anchor, in the episode called, this is for the benefit of our listeners, Severed Dreams.
Right.
The studio was attacked.
Right.
It looked scary. Was that a scary scene to film?
It was in that, there is no rehearsal for, having all that scenery drop on you.
Right.
It's just like, okay, we're going to do the scene, and then, Maggie, things will be dropping. Okay. And you're just like, whatever. By the way, just a little aside, they never knew this, but at the time I was probably about 4 months pregnant, and I didn't tell them because they wanted my job, And I thought, I don't know that they would let me do this if they knew I was pregnant, so I kept my mouth shut. But yes, when that studio started falling, I wasn't acting anymore. It was just like, I was dodging the scenery. It made it real, though. There was no having to think about, how do I portray this? No, you're just in reaction mode. So it was great. I loved it. Let me tell you, it made it easy.
It looked scary, and it didn't look fake at all.
It wasn't. But they do know how to avoid your head, so that's good. They make it look very real with skilled people, I'm assuming, who know how to make things fall around you and not on you. So,
the other episode that I would like to discuss with you is when you came back after all the political upheaval. For me, it was like a weight came off of my shoulders. You were back in the anchor seat, and we knew we could trust what was coming from ISN again. Tell me a little bit about that scene.
Okay, well, I don't remember the words. I don't remember anything except, isn't this great? What a gift to be given a scene written this way. Thank you, Mr. Straczynski. I really appreciate it because, pretty much I was just in there reading the news, which was helpful for, letting the viewers know what was happening in the plot of Babylon 5.
Right.
So I was a prop in a way, I'm realistic to know, I was just there to help move this scene along, help everybody be caught up on what's going on. Mm-hmm. So to stop and give me both of those scenes, Severed Dream and the other one, and you'll tell me because I don't remember what
it was called Endgame.
Endgame. To be given that scene in Endgame where I got to use some emotion and, think about being in that cell and, I had to use my own imagination and think of what I'd lost. And, it was just so nice to have some emotional, meaty scene. And those come easier to me than memorizing fast-paced, news copy. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was just like eating chocolate ice cream, you know what I mean? It was just like, oh, this is delicious, thank you.
Oh, you played it well. And
Thank you.
And it was one of my favorite moments in the series.
Thank you.
So then, maybe not at the beginning, but as time went on, were you aware of the storyline and where it was going? And
Oh, no idea. No, I mean, when I came back, now I had no scripts in between. So, and I never got a full script for my auditions. Now, when I got to, be on the show, they would send you a script. But I was not on every week, so I didn't know what the heck was going on. I'm still trying to catch up. I still rely on all of you wonderful fans out there to tell me what happened, because I'm like, I didn't get that script, and, and I should really buy the box set and sit down and watch them all in sequence to have it make sense to me, because it's just very disjointed in my mind because of the way I experienced it at the time.
Mm-hmm. It was an innovative show, and us as fans, we really enjoyed all the new things. And a credit to you is you were so convincing. You knew what was going on, even though you didn't know what was going on. I didn't have a clue. You came across as knowing right what was going on.
Well, I think that's the writing. The writing. If the writing is good, and you're saying the words, and you hear what needs to be emphasized, if you're paying attention, I think it makes the job a whole lot easier. Mm-hmm. It was well written, so just pick up your cues here and let them know what's important to know here. I mean, I don't know, it just maybe it comes a little bit naturally to me. My sister was a news anchor in New York City and in upstate New York in Albany, the state capital. Her daughter is a news anchor in Boston, and my other sister's son, he was a sportscaster for a while, and my dad, when he was in the Army based in the Aleutian Islands in Alaska, he did radio. So maybe it's a genetic thing. We just know how to spread the news. I don't know.
There you go. Well,
something.
It certainly did work out. Before you go, what is Maggie doing today other than OsFest?
Well, let's see. My daughter's 18, and we're getting her ready to go off to college. My family's my biggest priority right now. And honestly, there's just not a lot of auditions going on, so there's not a lot of work. I have been able to, thank God, work with kids, and I've taught lots of workshops and classes at schools in the area, and I go in and teach at Antonio Sabato Jr.'s Acting Academy in Westlake Village, California. And he was on the soaps, and he's been in lots of stuff. He was that Calvin Klein handsome guy up on the billboard in New York City. He's a really nice man and a lovely wife and beautiful children. And I've been able to go in and teach his classes sometimes, and that's been very fun. And I'm also working on a television show to produce, and which would involve me with young actors. So can't say too much about it right now,
right.
But it would be nice. Let me just say this. Here we are in Omaha, Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not as easy for a child who's interested in acting in Omaha, Nebraska to get a shot at doing, the kind of acting gigs that a kid living in LA or New York gets to do. And what we're trying to do is even the playing field.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm pretty excited. You're a music teacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know the importance of arts in school.
Yes.
And it's a big thing to me too, because where I came from, I was lucky that I had a few of those teachers that sparked that fire in me, and this is a way to give back. Is to because I didn't grow up. I grew up in upstate New York. That is a far cry from New York City. It wasn't like, oh, Mom, take me down for an audition. No, I wouldn't even dream of that.
Right.
So I'm hoping that I can make it available for kids to be able to have a shot at acting, where kids who are located in New York, LA, Chicago, or Atlanta, maybe even Dallas, are getting the shot now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Well, I have a former student who's trying to get into acting. I might
how old?
Look you up. Oh, let's see. He would be graduated about 3 years now.
So he's in college?
Yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I think he's doing some gigs.
Good.
So I'll have to send him your way.
Wow. Well, I'm so proud of him.
Oh, he's got a really great look. He's going to be good.
Oh, good.
I'll tell you what, he was quite the actor in school.
See? You know then, don't you? You
Yes.
spot it, right? You can.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was lucky to have someone spot that in me, and that was nice to get that support.
If our listeners would like to learn more about you, where can we find you?
Well, I'm on... you can look me up on IMDb. That's Internet Movie Database.
Okay.
imdb.com, and put in my name, Maggie Egan, in the search bar. Maggie, last name Egan, Maggie Egan, and they can look up my all my resume there. But also I have a website, maggieegan.com.
Okay.
And I have a Facebook page, Maggie Egan, on Facebook. So, and Twitter. My Twitter is at Maggie Egan 55. So those are all the places to come find me.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for talking to us
You're
today.
so welcome. Thanks for having me.
And have a nice rest of the con.
Oh, I'm gonna. It's been so great. Everybody here has been so wonderful.
That's awesome. That's the best interview I've ever done.
Oh, really?
Yes.
We're still recording.
Yes. You made it very easy.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Okay, I love that interview, Jim. I did love that interview. That was great.
Oh, I'll tell you what. This lady was incredibly nice to everybody. She was very friendly. Talked to everybody about anything. She meets you once, and if she saw you again the next day, she remembered who you were. And
Genuinely kind person.
Yes, and very easy to talk to. Not your, well, I don't know what's typical for a Hollywood personality, but yeah. So it was just a pleasure to talk to her. There was a panel that I got to see her at later on, which we've also got recorded. Yeah, she was just hugs and friendliness all the way around.
Oh, that's great. And by the way, I should let you know I did get my autographed picture of her. Thank you very, very much.
You bet. I'm happy to do it.
All right, friends. I hope you enjoyed that interview. I know I really did. And we've got a few more that'll be coming down the pike as well, I believe.
Yeah,
you have another interview and then the general panel discussion.
That's correct. We'll have those coming up real soon.
And friends, good night. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And still, no boom today.
Boom tomorrow.
There's always a boom tomorrow.
Val 2.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Podcast terminated. Thank you for listening to the Babylon Project podcast. You can email Raul and Jim at the Babylon Project podcast @gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at the Babylon Project Podcast. On the internet, we are at babylonprojectpodcast.wordpress.com. To subscribe to the podcast, you can find us on iTunes, or you can subscribe to the RSS feed on the webpage.